Good evening, everybody. Welcome into Coach's Corner East, the final winter show, not only of the season, but the final one here at Colonel Crawford as well, as we finish up the year the next 3 weeks with all spring sports at Crestline, Gallion, and Colonel Crawford coming back. Our show brought to you in part by Lee Plymouth and Brad Seibert at the Plymouth Insurance Group, Gallion and Bucyrus, North Central State College, Mansfield, and the Crawford Success Center, North Walnut Street, across from the courthouse in Bucyrus, Phil and Sue Schreck at Phil's Deli, just east of the Pizza Hut at the Bridge in Gallion, John Rolls at John's Auto Repair Specialist, 800 Scott Street in Crestline. Little different show tonight in that the cards that we were dealt with boys basketball, Coach David Sheldon and his staff are scouting tonight for teams that they may see, hopefully, in the district tournament, so they were unavailable. Unfortunately, the Lady Eagles got knocked out of the tournament on Saturday. Their season is over. But I am proud to say 9 swimmers from Colonel Crawford will be going or at the state tournament now down in Canton at the Natatorium. That is the most in the history of Colonel Crawford High School. They have never sent 9 swimmers to the state meet. So congratulations to Coach Shelley Ashley and all the swimmers that are down in Canton today. Best of luck to you. But we do have a special treat. We went junior high tonight. Dane Kennedy, the 8th grade boys coach, is here, and a little later on, it'll be Kaylin Reisner and the 7th grade girls coach for the show tonight. So with that, Coach Kennedy, thanks for coming. I duly appreciate you coming out.
Thanks for having us.
You bet. Tell me how many years, I know you were on the varsity staff as an assistant at one point, came down to the junior high level. How many years have you now been coaching at the junior high level here?
Junior high level, it's been 5.
5 years, okay.
Yep.
And have had a lot of success, and has it all been at the 8th grade level?
I did 7th grade for 1 year because Rob Lyle, our 7th grade coach, didn't want to coach his own son.
So
try to keep things a little peaceful at home between him and the son, and probably more so his wife.
I completely understand that. And yeah, it's a lot of, I would say to some extent, a little weight on your shoulder, because Coach Sheldon and his staff are expecting you to prepare these young men to go to the next level when they hit high school next year. Is that something you enjoy? Do you miss the varsity experience, or are you happy with what you're doing now?
With where I'm at in my life right now, I don't miss the high school level at all. Business has got a lot bigger than I anticipated it to, and the high school level is just a lot of work. And
yes, it is.
Junior high is a lot easier for me.
Yeah, practices are different.
Practices are 2 hours, and I mean, you still have some film that you watch, but you're not watching film 24/7 and going out scouting all the time, and it's just a lot more mellow for me.
And I'm sure to some extent, even the stuff that you do in the summer, sure, you guys are going to Sherrodsville, maybe doing some shootouts, things like that, but still not as intense as the varsity level, right?
I mean, I don't have to show up to the shooting, the lifting. I mean, I show up to Sherrodsville for a couple days here and there, and it just matters. Coach Sheldon does a great job working with my schedule.
Yeah, very good. So talk a little bit about your team this year, how you did, what kind of your record was, and then I know you didn't finish as champions, but talk about how you did in the tournament too.
It was a really interesting year for us. Last year, I think they lost 1 game. Actually, I know what was it? 1 game against Cary?
Yeah, 1 game.
1 game against Cary. And the year was, like I said, a little different for us. We come in, and John has a freak injury. John DeGray has a freak injury with his knee. So, I mean, there's obviously a lot of talent in this class. It's just they haven't had to be the man like they had to this year. So it was a big jump for everybody, and it was a good jump for everybody. I mean, we struggled a couple games towards Christmas break, lost 3 in a row, and came back and won 7 in a row to end the season, and won our first tournament game, and then lost to Cary in the semis, who ended up winning the whole thing.
Winning the whole thing,
Yeah.
okay. You know, Coach Sheldon told me during the year it's about adversity and how you deal with adversity, and certainly the varsity team, after all the success they've had over the last couple years, finally lost some games this year, and those young people had to deal with adversity, and they turned it around and got themselves a number 1 seed. Do you talk about that with this group? Is that something that they can understand and kind of conceptualize?
I think they understand that. I mean, we've talked about how every year is going to be different, and roles change as the older you get. I mean, Jacob Mattey's a great example. he was probably my 7th, 8th guy. Junior high, didn't get a whole lot of playing time his 8th grade year, and he's just been an absolute stud this year. So as I've told all those guys, it doesn't matter what happens now, it matters what happens in 4 years.
Yeah, and you should listen to what Coach is saying because it's so true. People's bodies develop differently, their skills develop differently, and that's hard for someone. They're not getting the playing time they expect at the junior high level. They kind of tap out and say, well, it's not for me, and then all of a sudden they turn into something that they could be really special junior, senior year, so it's a very good point. What were your numbers on the team this year approximately?
Oh, we had 11.
Okay. Is that tough to get them all in a shortened game
Yes.
compared to?
That's the worst thing
Yeah.
about junior high.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not everybody gets in every game, but 24 minutes, I mean, you look up and there's like 55 seconds left in the quarter, and you're like, what the heck am I supposed to do now?
Right. Because it's a fine line of you want to win because you want to start understanding that winning culture, but also these kids are practicing just as hard and you want to get them experience as well. So that's kind of a tough situation. What do you feel that this group did really well this year? What were you pleased with?
I thought defensively we got a lot better as the year went on. And I mean, defense with junior high is something that you just got to teach every day. And I can understand why a lot of these guys as teachers are bald, because you just have to keep repeating yourself, keep going over and over and over. But they were starting to get a lot better defensively towards the end of the year.
And what did you tell them at the end of the year, guys? I'm just telling you, you get in to be a freshman and beyond, this is what you have to work on if you want to be champions like the people that have gone before you.
Oh, it's pretty much you just got to work on everything. Basketball's a great sport because it's something you can work on individually.
Yeah.
I mean, baseball, you can't really throw to yourself, and football, you can't throw to yourself. And
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. Good point for sure. Well, let's take a break. We'll talk to the young men around the table. We are brought to you in part by Steve Kurtzman and Associates at Innovative Recycling, 352 South Street in Galion. Coach Tim Plumley at Mohican Sports Medicine in Bucyrus. John Cross at Cross Carpet and Custom Floor, 302 North Seltzer Street, downtown Crestline, as well as Terry Gribble and Associates at your Galion Community Center, YMCA. Dr. Erica Schieber at Bucyrus Veterinary Service, 222 West Mary Street, Bucyrus. Rod Steiger and Associates at Pizza Hut, Galion and Bucyrus, host of our show since 1992. And Luann Krebs at River's Edge Embroidery, Screen Printing and Signs, the official phone board t-shirt provider, Route 309, across from the Marion Depot. All 8th graders tonight. And first up, Tyler Lash is here. What position did you play on the floor this year, Tyler?
A lot. I played the 3-man.
3-man, okay. So were you asked to shoot a lot? Were you one of the main scorers of the team?
Not really, but somewhat.
Okay. Coach talked about defense. How did your defense improve from, let's say, the end of 7th grade year to the end of 8th grade?
Well, going to Stroudsville really helped it out a lot, and then just working on defensive drills and practice from there on.
Did you notice a big difference when you were playing other teams? I don't care, Cary, Wintford, Buckeye, I don't care who it was. That jump from 7th grade to 8th grade was a little quicker, maybe a little more physical, or was it pretty much the same as what you saw at 7th grade?
I'd say it was a lot more physical.
A lot more, yeah. And it seems like the game of basketball is getting that way for sure. So what have you challenged yourself to do in this offseason to get ready as a freshman next year to move forward?
I don't really know.
Prefer working on shot, maybe,
Yeah,
to get some
probably.
shots up, things like that. How tall are you?
5'10", 5'11".
Okay, so you got some height there and still very young, so an opportunity to grow. We talked a little bit off camera before we started. You're in spring sports. You're doing both baseball and track, right?
Yeah.
What position in baseball?
I don't really know, wherever they put me, I guess.
Okay, and then track, are you going to be a sprinter, a relay type person? Okay. Now you play football as well? You're a busy young man. When do you have time for school?
During the day.
Very good. Well, thanks for coming out. I do appreciate it. Best of luck to you, and I'm sure we'll be talking in the future sometime. Wyatt Spiegel's next, and it's great to have you aboard. Thanks for coming out tonight. I appreciate that. And when I look at you and look at Mr. DeGray next to you, I see the height there. So obviously you're both post players, right?
Yeah.
And that's an important role. Coach talks a lot about, and really hung his hat this year with that team on defense. If you look, especially early in the year, they weren't necessarily maybe scoring a lot of points, but they were holding their opponents to very few points. that has a lot to do with the defensive intensity. Did it get better for you this year?
Oh, yeah. Struggled in the beginning of the season and got better throughout the year.
Okay. Foul trouble. Did you get in a lot of foul trouble this year, or were you able to control that by not going over the back or things along that lines?
I picked up a couple here and there, but I was all right.
Yeah, it was nothing that you were too concerned with. Were you asked to be much of an offensive threat, or were you more defensive, get the rebounds, get it out to your guards and go?
I mean, both. Just did what I had to do.
Okay. Your dad was an accomplished player here, and you certainly accomplished his height at this point. Still, I'm sure a lot of room to grow. Do you feel confident in your physical abilities and where you're at right now from a physical standpoint, the height?
Yeah.
What do you think you need to do from here as far as your body? Get stronger?
Yeah, get more stronger and physical.
Okay. So you're going to be running track. I know you ran cross country, and you're going to run track. Is it sprints or what? What do you think?
Long distance, sorry.
Long distance, okay. So you're going to take what you did with cross country and go from there. All right, great job. I appreciate you coming out. Thanks so much. And John DeGray is up next. John, talk a little bit about what happened to you, the injury that you had, and how it kind of set you back a little bit.
So I planted wrong when going for a layup in practice, and we're guessing this has been going on for like a year or so, and it just gave out, and I tore my meniscus in my knee, and I had to sit out for the rest of the season.
So how many games did you get to play?
Only 2 scrimmage games.
And that's it? You didn't even get to play? Oh, my goodness. I'm so sorry. That's a lot. That's a big loss. What did you do, not only during practices, but the game, to help not only help you in your game, even though you couldn't physically be out there, but your teammates and help them understand, hey, this is what we got to do?
I tried to encourage them and push them on and just try and keep their hopes up.
Yeah. Losing a year like that, it's okay, I think, probably at the junior high level. It's more painful as a junior or senior because you don't get that year back. What are you going to have to do? First of all, are you cleared to do all activity now?
No.
Not quite yet. When will that time be?
A couple more months.
Okay, wow. But this summer you'll be able to resume and get that taken care of. What are some things you're going to have to do to catch up a little bit with getting back into basketball?
Just work harder, get in the gym, take shots after shots, work on my dribbling, and just keep going.
Your brother's a freshman this year, right?
Yes.
And got in late in the year, got some pretty quality varsity time. Do you talk a lot at home with him about what he's done to get to that point? Because it's really unlikely that freshmen play a lot at the varsity level.
We talk a little bit, and we haven't talked much about that topic, but we've said a couple words about it.
Yeah. Okay, very good. Now, are you going to be able to do anything in spring, or you're shut down?
So I'm going to be running here in a couple weeks, and I usually do pole vault, but I'm not allowed doing that this year. But I should be able to do some sprinting stuff.
Okay, very good. Well, best of luck to you. I hope you heal and get back doing what you enjoy doing.
Yeah.
And finally, Carson Rader, and position that you're playing on the team this year. What number?
Around post like 4.
4. Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, you do have a lot of height, don't you? And that's a good thing. Were you asked to be much of an offensive threat or more on the defensive end?
I think more defense for like, rebounds and getting up and down the court.
Hey, did Coach ever say to you in any games, Carson, box out, get a body on somebody? Did you ever hear that at all?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so that was a point of emphasis. Footwork. Do you guys work on that in practice where you get better footwork or get more positive in what you're doing?
Yeah.
Does it need to get better?
Probably over the years, yeah.
Okay. Do you have hopes to play JV next year? You think you could do that?
I bet I could if I really work at it.
Okay, and you willing to put that work in?
I could.
All right. Now, are you doing anything in the spring?
Yeah.
What are you going to be doing?
Baseball.
Baseball. Do you know what position you're going to play yet?
First and pitcher.
Okay. Do you have a pretty good fastball?
No.
No, you just asked to be the pitcher. Do you prefer pitcher or first base?
First base.
Okay. Now, do you play anything in the fall?
Oh, I play football.
You play football as well. Very good. All right. When you think about, let's look at the N10. Carey obviously won it. Did you think they were really your toughest competition?
I think so.
Or were there other teams that kind of gave you some trouble as well?
Like 3 teams gave us trouble, but Cary, we knew that we played against them in the championship last year, that they were going to come back and win.
Yeah, boy, they just like you guys, they just keep growing them, don't they? So always a struggle. Well, thanks for coming. I appreciate it. Best of luck to you. Take another break here, and we'll come back and finish up with Coach Kennedy. And our show brought to you in part by Don Barr and Associates at Galleon Building and Loan Bank, Matt Studer at Spitzer Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram and Kia, 1 mile east of the Richland Mall, Mark Osborne and Associates at E-Crane International, serving worldwide markets from the Galleon Industrial Park, as well as Steve and Chuck Keller at Keller Auto Parts, your Napa dealer, Uptown Galleon and Crestline, Dr. Thomas M. Britton, Clubview Vision Center next to the golf course in Bucyrus, and Joe Klein and Associates at the Galleon office, First Federal Bank of Ohio. All right, Coach. Your time is done for the season. You can still stay in touch with these guys now that they're moving on to the varsity, or you kind of just say, okay, you're moving on. I got to worry about these 7th graders coming up as 8th graders.
Oh no, Coach Lyle and I typically go to a lot of games. At least he goes to more than me, obviously, with his son playing. But I'll still talk to all the guys from, especially now since we've had all 4 groups up playing freshman, JV, and varsity, so we're obviously familiar with all of them.
Right. The 7th grade team that you're going to inherit next year, what were they like? What was their record? How did they do?
They won 11-4.
Okay.
Lost in the semis to Winford in a barn burner, 18-14.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and they have a lot of size, and they got better as the year went on.
Do you enjoy that challenge of taking the success they had at that level and then kind of growing upon that?
Yeah, I mean, I love doing junior high right now. It's just, like I said, with my schedule and just for how many years I've been doing this, it still keeps me involved in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good thing. Well, you play a very valuable role in getting young people ready and accustomed to the game, so when they do hit the varsity level or high school level, because it's a much different game. The stakes become higher, the expectations become greater, and the demand becomes greater. And so you're kind of laying the carpet out there and say, guys, this is what's coming next. So that's a pretty important role. Well, I appreciate you all coming out tonight and giving of your time, albeit the season's over. Gives you a little bit of diversion from your spring sports. Appreciate you giving of your time, and best of luck to you moving forward.
Appreciate it.
You bet. I'm going to take a break. Going to come back and talk to the 7th grade Lady Eagle basketball team and Kaylin Reisner right after this timeout.